Good evening, everyone. It's already a Monday, and we're doing another Facebook Live, Tea with Tea. So I'm excited that hopefully several of you are joining and hopping on, winding down from yet another Monday. And I have a little bit of it is coffee this evening, but it's decaf. I perked a little decaf. I wanted the taste of more coffee, but I figured I probably don't need the caffeine. So I'm having a little bit of decaf coffee this evening, and I'm super excited. This is our first live in March. March 1st is my favorite day of the year. You can ask my family. It doesn't matter if it's warm. Luckily, it was really warm and beautiful here yesterday, but it doesn't have to be. I don't even care. It can be cold, it can snow, but it just sounds better. It's March. That we're so close and spring is coming. It's going to be warm, and I'm just always super excited. So, welcome to March and longer days. We are going to spring forward on Sunday, so don't forget. So, tonight I wanted to talk about something specific to yoga and to yoga classes, and something that you might hear in some classes and potentially wonder about. I have heard some questions about this type of thing, and so I thought, well, this could be a good Facebook Live question to tackle. So, stretching is obviously part of yoga and why people come to yoga. We want to lengthen and we want to stretch out and work on flexibility. But often we maybe think too much about stretching and we think about how far we should be going. And that's somewhat what this idea of an edge deals with. So if you think about even just a forward fold to from standing and folding kind of in half as if you were going to touch your toes, that type of fold. We are hinging from the hips, not the shoulders. So that's step one. But this idea of an edge is that in any stretch, whatever the stretch may be, we're not trying to get to a certain result. So touching your toes. A lot of people think, oh, in a forward fold, the goal is that I should touch my toes or be able to touch the ground. And that's not what we want to do is find our edge. So if you think about breathing in yoga, we spend a lot of time at the beginning of a yoga class, right? Finding our breath and coming into practice. And that breath, we're wanting to continue to be long and low and slow the whole practice. So, in any stretch, in any pose, you should be able to have that breath. And if you try to touch your toes when that's not a good stretch for you, you're going to have that intake of breath. You're going to be like straining, you're going to be reaching, and you're going to be like, right, and pulling in and tightening of your muscles. So you're losing your breath and you're kind of tightening up. That's what we're trying to avoid. So the edge is this idea that in any stretch that you take, you are going into that stretch, you're maintaining that breath, and you find that point where you feel the stretch and you feel the good of that pose, but you can still breathe. You don't go past that point where you're going to and tighten and seize. We want to always be able to have that breath. So we fold or we reach or we stretch and we find that point. That's your edge. And so we get to that point and then we hold and we breathe. And when you focus on that breath, you're focusing on letting those muscles know we can release, we can relax, we can try to settle in and sink into the stretch. Often in my classes, I talk about sinking, not straining. And this is that idea that we want to breathe into those muscles and lengthen and let them relax, not try to overstretch and tight and get tense and lose that breath and have that and holding a breath. Sometimes people hold their breath, right? Because they're trying to reach too far. So when you go to yoga classes, don't think about or focus on how far you're stretching, but that you're trying to find that edge because that is what will help you get further and become more flexible and really add some of that mobility or flexibility to your body in different places. So that's what we mean when we talk about finding our edge. Where's that point where you can feel the stretch and it's maybe a challenge, but yet you haven't lost that slow, deep, steady breath, and that you can really focus then, especially on those exhales, releasing and relaxing and enjoying that stretch. Okay. Also, just here at the end, if you're not already on my email list and maybe you've watched this live or you've watched a few, and if you like me and you like my style of yoga, feel free to join my email list. They get some emails from me on a somewhat regular basis, and sometimes they get to hear maybe a little bit more. I share a little bit deeper with them as sort of a trusted little insider group. So if you want to join, it's here on the screen, bit.ly/yoga with TG email. That will take you right to the sign up and you can log in and join. The first email that you get, make sure you check that it didn't go and get sent to your junk email. That would be terrible. We don't want yoga emails to go to junk emails. So double check that and set all the settings, whatever you need to do. But also in that very first email, there is a link to a full free yoga nidra class, which is a guided experience to really give you a great restorative practice. And so check that out. You can only get that from joining my email list. So again, bit.ly/yoga with TG email if you want to join my insider group. So, all right. Well, I hope that was helpful. Maybe clarified something for you about finding your edge. Hopefully, something you can take with you to your yoga classes and keep in mind when you're stretching and trying to improve your flexibility. So, I hope you have a great night. I'm going to finish my decaf coffee and probably go to bed. I'm pretty tired. So, have a great night, and I'll see you next week.